This is good morning, namaste, sat sri akal, salam, adab. This is Ayesha Siddiqa with Neighbors Talking for Naya Daur TV with Nabanita Sircar today. Nabanita Sircar is a journalist, columnist in London, and she's somebody with a great eye for British politics. And this is what we are here for today, to understand what has just happened in the United Kingdom. मतलब कि हम तो देसी हैं, हम तो वैसे ही बड़ा खुश हो गए कि हमारी कलर स्किन के ऋषि सोनाक जो है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर बन गए. So please, Navneeta, can you explain what has just happened in the UK?
See, Aisha, this is a very historic moment for many reasons. देखिए, पहले Labour was the party where all Asians and immigrants went to, लेकिन Labour कभी इसमें successful नहीं हो पाई. Although Conservatives were treated as the upper white elite party, लेकिन
Right.
Conservatives had Disraeli as a Jewish prime minister many years ago, and now getting an British Asian prime minister actually shows, ऐसा नहीं है कि racism नहीं है, लेकिन it shows a huge step in the right direction. And we've had the Pakistani origin mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. So it is, it's been a natural organic process जो ये आगे बढ़ के आए हैं. So it is historic. क्योंकि कहीं ऐसा नहीं हुआ है, especially democracies, especially because of the British colony. वो colonialism को break करना एक बड़ी बात थी, and ये rise हुए हैं लोग. They were not dropped from top. So generations जो यहाँ आए हैं उन्होंने बहुत मेहनत करी है. I mean,
And Rishi जो है वो third generation है, right? या second generation?
He'd be second generation. His parents moved here. So
Okay.
his grandparents moved to Africa.
So now, does it naturally mean कि अब जो है वो रास्ता खुल गया है for Asians and for people of color to rise in British politics?
They were already in British politics, although I would say a lot of Asians, like Indians, were initially resistant to come into politics because they believed more in education, getting their lives together, working, everything like that. But there has been a change, and Labour did have a lot of Asians, be it Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, or Indians. But now, one thing that can be noted is as Indians have been doing better and better economically, there has been a shift to the Tory party. The Tory party has more Indians now who have Indians or Asians जो आगे तक बढ़ गए हैं. चाहे आप साजिद जावेद देख लें, प्रीति पटेल देख लें, अब सुएला ब्रेवरमैन भी है. So there's been Jews. तो वो एक broad church जो है cabinet वो रखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं conservative parties, which is a very good thing. Despite the faults of the party or whether you believe in its politics or not, but it is a very strong move and it sends a message to the world.
देखिए अभी कुछ पिछले दिनों I met these 2-3 youngsters, Pakistani youngsters. तो हमारे यहाँ तो ये लेके हमेशा चलते थे that के you join the Labour Party, that Labour Party is the answer. Suddenly, I was talking to these youngsters, university going, who are joining Tory party, which surprised me. So where did that, can you recall when did that fundamental shift in the Tory party start?
That shift started just before Cameron came into government. I mean, it became evident.
Okay.
That's the time when it really became evident of these guys, the Desi guys, doing really well in the party. And I think Cameron was the first prime minister to actually say that it's not far that we have a British Indian or a British Pakistani as the prime minister of UK. So he had made that historic statement and it's come true now.
And
you see, you have to understand the aspect of the generation, which is the second or third generation, are of Indians, at least I can say, and I think even of the Pakistani generations, they are more assimilated into the society. They do not believe themselves to be outsiders. They are doing financially, economically very well. So they find it their right. And that aspirational group started moving towards Tory. And when Jeremy Corbyn came in, तब और ज्यादा मूवमेंट हुआ लेबर में जब जेरेमी कॉर्बन लीड कर रहे थे तब there was there was a mass shift of Desis into the Tory party and Boris
वो
Johnson.
क्यों हुआ?
Yeah,
वो
go
क्यों
on.
हुआ? Why did
You see, the anti-Semitism, etc., etc. He was extreme left, and I think because of the economic success of Indians and all, they realized they had grown out of that party, out of that philosophy. Plus, Labour has never succeeded. वो बोलते हैं, but that has been a weakness of Labour. It has never succeeded in putting a colored person right at the top of their governments. It has never been like that. But आप देखिए जब टोरी पार्टी आई right from David Cameron, they started having these people in their cabinets. Whether slowly they grew to the secretary level, but they started bringing them into cabinet. So ye change to tha. It was a very conscious effort that the Tories made of getting Asians and colored people into the parliament.
No, then then my question is, how do we look at Rishi Sunak? Is he an Asian of color in British politics, or is he a British in British politics with a different colored skin?
Dekhiye, there's a divided view in that. If you look at the Tory voters who are above 50 white, they do not like Rishi Sunak because he's brown. But the younger generation is very different. They believe, क्योंकि वो जो above 50 वाले जो voters हैं, white voters हैं Tory के, they were hard Brexit. A huge proportion of them was hard Brexit. मतलब immigration नहीं चाहिए. मतलब ये जो brown या काले या कुछ भी लोग हैं, they are all outsiders. ये क्यों आके हमारा जगह लेंगे? तो immigration बंद करो. So that is the difference of thinking of two generations. But Rishi Sunak cannot. Yes, he follows Hindu religion. He's of Indian descent. His parents were born in Africa. His grandparents moved to Africa. So, it is pretty far removed. And he will be more of a Tory prime minister than a prime minister who is of Indian origin. It is a matter of right for the country that they have a colored prime minister, but I don't think it can interfere with his politics. He's a Tory first and a British first.
Okay. So, but on a lighter note, मैंने कल पता किया था तो पता चला कि पाकिस्तानी जो हैं ब्रिटेन में वो बहुत खुश हो रहे हैं कि as you said कि he's of Indian descent, तो वो जिस एरिया से इंडिया के तब अनडिवाइडेड इंडिया से थे आज वो पाकिस्तान में है, तो पाकिस्तानी भी खुश हो रहे हैं एंड पाकिस्तानी भी ये शेयर कर रहे हैं कि एक अगर ब्राउन आदमी ऊपर आ सकता है तो कल को Pakistani bhi aa sakta hai. It is opened up. Now, tell me, will we feel any difference in policies? I was just listening to BBC Radio 4, and somebody made this very important comment that it will be a very heavy duty for him because he'll have at least two former prime ministers sitting in the benches behind him. And these prime ministers who would like to have a voice. So what does it mean now for Rishi?
Not 2, 3. Even Theresa May is there.
Yeah.
For Rishi, it's going to be, he's not taken the position at a very easy time for the country. It's, I think, one of the worst times in 40 years this country is faced with. And at this time, like he himself says, he has to clear the mess. And in that sense, for him to be patted on his back will not be easy. And I think November 17th will be important when Jeremy Hunt places the Chancellor of the Exchequer, places the financial budget, the financial statement, a longer statement in the Parliament. Because tab samajh mein aayega ki कितने पानी में है, कितना क्या करना है. Already there's been some criticism that the foreign aid money is being used for within the country for work over here. So they're saying it's not against the rule, but no other G7 country has done it. Though criticisms, though, he has to face, and how he goes about it, and whether again that Tory thing of not thinking of the working class can affect, I don't know. अभी तो जो immediate polls है उसमें थोड़ा better हुआ है ऋषि सुनाक के आने के बाद conservative की position, but Labour is still clear ahead. But one will have to wait and see what is going to, he's faced with multiple problems. He's not faced with one single problem. And don't forget that there is also that criticism that he was chancellor. कुछ ही महीने के लिए resign करके. So there has been a problem with the how the finances have been handled. So will he be able to redeem himself from that? That is a $1 million question, and we'll have to wait and watch how it goes.
But Nabanita, just let me stop you here. You remember he kind of shot to kind of prominence because of his performance as a chancellor, right?
But
so why can't
that was during COVID. जो furlough
Okay.
provide किया, जो support provide किया and everything, his popularity went ahead of Boris Johnson.
Okay.
And he became extremely popular, and because of that, of course, I cannot provide any evidence to it, but those stories that came out about his wife's non-dom status, how rich she was.
What is a non-dom status?
That is when you do not pay taxes in this country. Your status is non-domestic, so you are not
Okay.
a UK citizen. So she's changed all that now. But those stories started getting leaked out, and many feel that it was getting leaked out from 10 Downing Street because Boris Johnson's popularity was being threatened by Rishi Sunak. He had become very popular, and but after March, when he started talking about heavy cuts, etc., then that is when all these stories against him started coming out. So there was a lot of political machination that was going on. It's not that the stories are false, but the timing of the stories were pretty you can make out it didn't come out organically. It was pretty well manipulated.
And just a reminder, there are other issues. There is Northern Ireland ka issue hai, European Union ka hai. How do you think? I mean, he's a hard Brexiteer, isn't he?
He's a very hard Brexiteer, and a lot of people, by looking at him or whatever, have this impression that he's some kind of a Remainer, but he was a hard Brexiteer. And the fact that he's got Suella Braverman as Home Secretary also shows that, he's keeping the extreme right wing of the party pleased in a very critical position of Home Secretary, where immigration, security, everything comes into her purview. But yesterday, apparently, he had a call with the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, and his tone was very different from what Liz Truss was doing. He said, we are, very old friends. And even Macron said that, culturally and every which way, France and UK are, kind of bound together. And that they will work together on the channel crossings. And Sunak was very pleasant, saying that he's requested Macron to help him
Okay.
solve this issue. So I think he's taking a softer stance. He's pretty diplomatic in his way. He's very slick in the way he comes across. How far that has mattered and how far that he'll be able to succeed is again something we've got to wait and see.
Well, besides being slick, let's not forget he's got a billionaire father-in-law behind him in India, which raises this question: what will this change in the UK mean for India?
See, I don't think India is the first on his agenda. It is not. It cannot be. That is how geopolitics plays out. But yes,
Okay.
UK, since Brexit, needs free trade deals. And the India free trade deal is very important for the UK right now. I think as much as it is for India, I think it is more important for the UK right now. and that was kind of scuppered temporarily. And of course, I mean, the Diwali date was given, but FTAs and these kind of trade deals never come out on time, so it'll take time. That is a deal where maybe Sunak, being of Indian descent, might help a bit, but I doubt in the long run his policies are going to be Tory politics, and with Suella Braverman there against immigration, etc. He's not going to waver from that. So I don't see advantages coming out for India because he is of Indian descent. We've got a lot of actually leaders of countries who are of Indian descent, like Leo Varadkar. He was of Ireland, and he's coming back in December again because of that rotation in Ireland. Then of Portugal, etc. So we've got it hasn't suddenly changed relationships.
Right. And अभी कुछ दिनों पहले की बात थी है ना कि Suella Braverman had a different position on signing FTA with India than Liz Truss. So you think that जो FTA है, that has not been thoroughly debated within the Tory party? What's happening?
I think, well, what should I say? I've written a lot of critical pieces vis-a-vis Suella Braverman, because it's not just that she said that Indians are the largest population who overstay their visas, etc. It's not only just that. She's spoken about her dream being seen immigrants put into planes and sent off to Rwanda. She wants,
oh God.
Yeah, I mean, if that is her dream, then I'm sorry, it is a very sad dream. I mean, I would not sleep if I thought that's how I was going to dream. So she has a very cut and dry and extreme right, this thing of just do not let anybody come in. And UK is all this. I mean, she's been an admirer of the empire, which I mean, anybody coming from a past colonial past would not really be in such praises of the empire. And then she wants Britain to withdraw from the European Commission of Human Rights. So
oh God.
her principles are extreme right. And how will Sunak be able to manage that? Because I think Liz Truss was more for a little more immigration, but immigration does not mean that every Indian is just going to walk into this country or anything of that sort. Obviously, immigrations are work related, etc. I mean, there are going to be standards and limits of what is going to happen, but the way she put it through did not come across very well, and it is naturally would anger any other country, anybody. I mean, the problem of illegal immigration and overstaying visas is there with every country. And these are issues that can be dealt with at a different matter. You don't put your nose into it when a free trade deal is just about to be signed. So I think...
very quickly about larger geopolitics. I mean, हम जो देसी हैं, हमें तो अपनी परेशानी रहती है ना. So just curious कि जो larger geopolitics of South Asia की, and of course which includes Afghanistan and Kashmir and other issues, इसमें ये टांग अड़ाएगा Rishi Sunak, and would he try to play a role or not?
I see he does not have the time. The elections are in 2024 end. And right now, he can't even get the economy straight and running. This is going to be a very tough slog. I mean, normally thinking, why would anybody want to become prime minister at this time in the country? But whether he'll change his stance, no, I cannot see that, because Ukraine is the major issue for this country, which he himself has said. And I think the first call he made was to Vladimir Zelensky after he took office. So I think that will be as it is with the Tories to Afghanistan वगैरह में इतना क्या interfere करेंगे? It's the whole West that has to decide how they will behave. And
what about China?
Interference nahi karenge, which I think has been a Tory party stand. They do not interfere, and it is an internal matter. I remember, I mean, it's from the time of Mr. Blair that it is considered an internal matter of India.
But there's also, this Kashmir origin population. So there's a vote bank inside UK as well.
That was majorly a Labour vote bank. Don't forget that.
Okay.
Hugely a
Okay.
Labour vote bank, and that is why when Robin Cook was Foreign Secretary, etc., he was piping up this thing of plebiscite and all that. And I had once spoken to a very senior, minister, Labour minister. I won't take his name.
Right.
And he had said that, yeah, we have our compulsions of our own constituencies. And he had a huge Pakistani Mirpuri population. So that was very different. With the Tories, it's not the same. And Tony Blair was
Right.
not the same either. Tony Blair was more centrist. So he kind of
Right.
changed the plebiscite bandwagon totally within his party.
Right. Right. So, what about China? Where will he take UK in relation to China?
See, that is something, again, one will have to see what US does and how China will be accommodated. I don't know. And that is one more reason why India geopolitically becomes important now, because of China and the way it's going. Now we know what the situation is. Xi Jinping is going to be there forever, probably. And there has already been a lot of upset and, cutting down on Chinese investments here, because they were getting into like the systems, institutional systems within the country with.
Oh, okay.
So
But
that.
yesterday I was reading this comment by Biden. Now, Biden said that climate change की discussion में China को has to be brought on board. तो अगर वो discussion है, तो what about UK having this conversation? And secondly, ये खुद जो है ऋषि सोनाक, he's not going for the climate change conference. He's
That
not.
come under huge criticism, and it is I feel it is wrong, because last year the UK held a very, very strong COP26 in Glasgow, and uh, UK still has the presidency till it hands over to Egypt in next month.
Right, right.
And why are they being so edgy about going to COP27? He talks about, he has to look at the domestic economy, but he's the prime minister, he has a chancellor. And don't tell me they can't handle two issues, and climate change is a major issue. We've seen the repercussions. They've come faster than it was predicted, and he should have been there. And I don't even know why the Tory party is not forthcoming about King Charles going there, because King Charles has been a voice for environment and has spoken very strongly. So I don't know what game is going on there. And like with fracking, fossil fuels, etc., there's been dilly-dallying. So
Right.
that does not sound very nice. And that's a stage, that's an international stage where the UK could have played a very important role. But
Right.
it doesn't sound a very sound. I mean, it doesn't make for a sound decision of him not going, even if he had gone.
Nabnita, one last question. Do you see K Rishi Sonak, if he manages to kind of, be mildly successful, will he be able to take the Tory party to a success in next elections?
I can't see that happening. I think Tory party's fate has been written already, and
Okay.
what he can do is not is if he manages this 2023 and 2024 well, what he can do is not be totally beaten out of the game, but be
Okay.
a decent opposition. Because don't forget, the British don't, they can take a long time, but when the time comes, they can go back and hit. They may not, it may, they don't, their memory lasts. And what the Tories done, and I can't see him economically totally turning things around. So I think it's going to be a very interesting time to watch. And I cannot see, I don't know, there can't be a miracle. I cannot see the Tories coming back. Labour is still well in front, and unless Labour makes a huge mistake, that's a different story altogether.
Nabanita Sircar, thank you so much for giving us time, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on the future of British politics, and what does Rishi Sunak's success in selection as or election as British Prime Minister mean for South Asia and for Britain. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ayesha.